Hey everyone, it's Darshana Patel here with another episode of enLight'n. Thanks for tuning in. You won't believe who's in the studio with me today. The one and only Jamie Butler!
I'm so happy to be here, yay!
Jamie, thanks for joining me.
God, thanks for having me.
I'm excited about today's conversation. So, Jamie and I, every now and then, we powwow in the center, when we cross paths or whatever. And sometimes we realize we have some creepy stories.
Yeah.
Things that we've encountered when we're doing energy work on people or clearing homes or doing readings. And I thought it would be a cool episode for us to share some of the creepy things that we've seen and experienced both at work and in daily life, and then what we do to work through it, with some compassion and not getting creeped out to the point where we're in that fearful mode. So for those of you at home, maybe you have some creepy stories, and number one, you're not alone, and two, how did you overcome it? What did you do in that situation? So we thought we'd share some of our stories.
Oh my God, if you viewers want to comment, I would love to read that. Fingers to keyboard, as we say. Let us know what your creepy, scary stories were and how you got through it. That's most important.
Exactly. So Jamie and I were in Toronto, was that last year? And this
Was
is...
it last year?
Yeah,
Oh my God, okay. Yeah, because Happy New Year. Yeah.
We're in 2018 now. So we were in Toronto on a trip, and we had some time to just kind of walk around and chit-chat. And so we were walking around this church, and then I'm going to let you tell the story because you tell it really well.
Wait, there's a beautiful church in the middle of downtown. The long garden sidewalk, and Darshana and I are just moseying, staring at the trees. Beautiful. And then we cut around the side because we're going to go down a few blocks. And we came around the corner, and as we're both walking, we just got slower and got more weirded out and got creepy. And I noticed she was doing it, I was doing it, and I was like, what? And she was like, what are you picking up on? I'm like, this ain't right. It was not right. Made of brick. It was built in, oh my God, it was super old, 300 odd years old.
Yeah, it was an old church. Gorgeous.
And we got around to the side where the bell tower was, and there was dead energy that doesn't move, that's puddled, looks stagnant. At the bottom there was one male that I saw coming around the corner that wasn't transitioned, though he was dead. And then Darshana goes, wait, I think, and then she looked up, and it was just oh, you could just feel it, right?
Absolutely. And I remember that image and that feeling. For me, I feel the energy, and it was this downward momentum. And I thought, someone jumped, and then some people have fallen right here. And then that spot on the ground was just so active. And so we were kind of comparing notes on what we were feeling.
My ears are getting hot. Oh, that is weird when that happens because my hands are so cold. Then right next to the bell tower, there was the side yard of the church, but it had fencing around it. They were doing some kind of construction. Gorgeous trees, old oak growth, very shaded. And we looked around, and it was looking at a dug up cemetery, but it was not a cemetery. And Darshana's like, are you looking at those trees? And I was just stomach was sour. Everything started acid reflux in a way, and a rotten tummy feeling. You could see spirits or people being hung from the trees, blood on the ground. I could hear swords. You could hear movement and old sound replaying from whatever trauma happened. Not cool.
Yeah. And so what I love about this experience is being able to help repattern that energy. So for those of you that are feeling energy in your day-to-day, when you're walking through neighborhoods, cemeteries, just anything, you will begin to notice in different ways these sensations. Jamie feels it a lot in her body. I'll feel it in my heart, sometimes my gut as well, or just my head will start to buzz, or the warm hands and ears. So just notice the physical sensations and then start to ask, what am I feeling? Is it mine? What am I sensing? And why? So I start to question the information. Is it starting?
Mm-hmm. It's hot.
And And then you have an opportunity to kind of plug in and see what's going on, and then most importantly, repattern that energy. Because if you imagine everything's just a grid of energy, and you can send it love and compassion, you can help beings transition over or resolve what they're stuck with. And sometimes it's just an imprint of energy from the past. Like if there's war or battle, which there clearly was. I think there were kind of two things going on in this particular area.
Yeah, I agree.
So you can bring some calmness to that imprinted energy that's kind of stuck.
No, I think it's important, like you were mentioning, you can give love and compassion. That's something that you can do anywhere you are when you get that sensation. Let's try not to shy away from these things. Let's try not, and try is not really the best word here. Let's not shy away from these things. When we get the feeling, let's just pretend that it's real and go for it. Throw out love, compassion, and change the, what did you call it? The imprint.
Yeah.
Like the
The pattern. We're repatterning the energy field around us, and it just takes love. Because each of us, we're just transmuting this energy. You know, when you wonder, what do I do with my life? Just transmute what you're feeling into love, because you're raising the vibration when you do that.
You know, what if we all went to majorly haunted places and didn't do it for entertainment value, but did it for love? Like we went there, spent the night in the hotel or whatever, and just gave love all night.
I would love to do that, like as an entire program, like we could, as a show, yeah.
Help heal and help that land, that energy, grid it, everything.
I think there's power in that.
Why don't we do those
because
things?
it's so there's the entertainment and the drama factor, but for me it's like I want to repattern the energy here so everyone else walking through doesn't feel this way, that the beings stuck there can transition on. And so
Then
let's
why
do
do we
it.
think this is so entertaining?
Because it sells and it creates more drama and low vibration and fear. Like we love getting scared because it's that low vibrational feeling.
Thank you, Hollywood.
So I think we're hitting a new tier in our evolution where we realize, okay, that's just stirring up more negative, low vibration energy when we respond with fear and want to feed that drama. But now let's repattern
What's
it.
the scariest thing you've ever seen then? What was the one entity or being that created fear for you?
So I was clearing this house. It was like a $2.5 million brand new home in this gorgeous area of Atlanta. So
Brand new.
Yeah, brand new. And that's a common thing is a lot of homes are brand new, but built on Civil War land here in Atlanta. There's also a lot of First Nations, a lot of tribes that lived in Atlanta. And so their land was disrupted too when the settlers and colonization happened. So in this particular house, they had shifted the foundation to make it bigger. So they were digging, they had to dig a new fire escape for this additional room in the basement where the teenage boy was going to be staying.
Teenage boy and digging foundation. Ding, ding, ding,
Yes.
red lights.
Yeah, so the new homeowners, they were just beginning to live in the house, recognized that the teenage son refused to stay at night in his room because things were moving and there was noise and he just felt something.
His room is in the basement?
Yes.
Things were moving. What do you mean?
Yes, things would fall at night. He claimed that things would fall off the dresser at night. So when I started walking the house on the main level, I could feel this swirling energy on that side of the home where I assumed his bedroom was. Because, you know, a lot of times homes will have an energy pull to one side when I walk in. So I'll know there's something going on at some level of that house. So I could feel the swirl going on. I was like, ooh, this one's going to be interesting. By the time I went down to the basement, I could feel a whole huddle of energies, people, on one side, and then I could feel this very intelligent, let's call it a demonic being, on the other side. And it would, you know, go through the walls, and it was just constantly trying to cut off my access to it. It was playing hide and seek in a way.
Oh, yeah, that happens.
Yeah. So that was the one where I got, the fear in me started coming up because I wasn't sure how to address it.
Yeah, especially if it's not like a normal conversation where you're like, come here, let's talk about this. And he's hiding, or
Exactly.
I say he, could be a she.
It felt masculine. And so what I ended up doing was calling in my guides and then creating a barrier of light on one side, creating a barrier of light behind me. So then I basically trapped it in with me and you've had similar stories where you've had to do this kind of thing too. I would love the one we talked about in Toronto. And so then it's just me and it. Okay, and so then I'm creating this shield around us, and then I literally loved it to death. I have to generate so much love and compassion and be able to just see it for what it is, to ask what it needs, to ask why it's there, to honor that we disrupted something that it was tethered to in building the home. And so I use a lot of compassion in my work, and I know that I'm protected and guided when I do this. So I can let go of my fear and relinquish that when I just
that's
fall
where the
into
power
love.
is. The power is because you know you are protected.
Yes.
You say that with zero doubt.
I have to trust it, and I know because I'm doing
That's
the
where the
work I'm
power
supposed
is.
to do. Yeah, is to not be afraid. You have to lean into that love and the love that you know is around you.
Don't you hear people say, well, how do you transition them or how do you address them? And you have to be, I don't know, study it, or you have to have the right words or crystals, tools, things like that. You just were like, I killed it with love.
That's what I do. I just surround it all with love. So, there are many tools, like, I'll carry the sage and the smudge around because for me it's a tangible repatterning of energy. But it's all about intention. Look at the word intent ion. You're intending the light, the charge of light to do something. So repatterning happens in intention. So that's my style. I've learned over the years now I don't need the tools because I am the tool. The tool is just something to help us, believe and to channel or direct the energy. So by all means, use whatever works for you. Like I still have the crystal in my pocket, for grounding and extra amplification of energy. But I know we're each just the tools ourselves.
Yeah, it comes within.
Exactly. And Badass Michael, Archangel, he's nice to have on the team too.
What did the demon dude, whatever, look like?
So,
or feel like?
for me, yeah, I didn't want to see it fully because a lot of times, so I'm going back. The glimpse that I got, it had reddish brownish features, no clothing, kind of enhanced cheekbones and eyes with what do you call it? The brow line was pronounced. Probably between, I'm getting answers, about 5'8" in size. Muscular? Kind of scary. Yeah, scary looking for sure. And then so once I got the image of, okay, this is what I'm working with, I'd rather feel the light and know what it is from the vibrational standpoint than the imagery. Because the imagery scares the shit out of me.
Right, that will set you back, won't it?
Yeah, it totally does. Like,
You have to see it but not see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's what they bank on. I think they bank on us using our eyesight, and that's how they get the fear to raise in us so that they get to control us through the fear.
I think you're absolutely right. Because
Aha
once
moment right there.
I think you're absolutely right. I would love to hear some of your stories.
Oh my! What was I sharing with you in Toronto?
There was the one house you said you were clearing, and you ended up in a room with this being. Do you know which one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That one,
that
yeah.
room.
This, I think there were scratches and.
Oh, I've had entities that have scratched me. I've had physical injuries from entities. This one was a Spaniard soldier. Is that the one?
I think so. Yes.
He had. The people who lived in the house had headaches, vomiting, lots of issues. Furniture was getting rearranged. Big mahogany pieces. Stuff from upstairs was being found downstairs. Big furniture pieces, people, not like a piece of paper. Big comfort armchairs, things like that. And so I had the person invite me into the house. I wasn't going to go in without the actual invite because I thought that would give me power to be in the house. I didn't just come in on somebody's territory. I was invited, so that was big. And once I got in there, the house felt like a fun house. You said when you went into the one, you felt pulled to the vortex. This one was just off, and so I was like, I couldn't really figure it out. Went all over the house, went upstairs, actually saw my breath, And this is in a Florida attic in the middle of the summer.
Wow.
You don't get cold enough in the attic to see your breath. And I was like, oh my God, this is just like the movies. And I was terrified. That just scared the crap out of me. And I was like, well, I'm not going to give up now. If whatever is here knows that I'm afraid, then they have power over me already. So that's got to change. So I went downstairs and I could feel the pushing, pushing me down the stairs faster than what I wanted to walk. So I did hand over hand on the handrail. And the only thing I could think of in my head was, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. I was like, think of Dorothy and the red slippers. There's no place like home. And I was like, oh my God, it's the stupidest thing I could be doing right now. But it got me out of being afraid. So it changed the visual. But
Wow.
He had created a vortex. He was from a different time frame. He disturbed the Indians that were there. The Indians came back and disturbed the Spaniards. You know, life happens. The house was built. It's a brand new build. And I had to convince him. I tried to send him love, but he kept making me want to vomit and fall over with headaches and all kinds of things. So I resorted to trying to find out, what did it love at one point, at any point, if it did.
So let me interrupt you. So for our viewers, Jamie, as you're engaging in this entity, how are you communicating with it?
Sometimes it's out loud, actually out loud, because I inside of me, my stomach was shaking. You know, that kind of like, I'm in a situation that's brand new and maybe I don't have the tools for it, and putting it out loud made me believe in it even more. I kept saying, I see you, I hear you, I know you, you know, and I kept saying I, and taking, you know, some of the power back. But when it came to negotiating, who did you love, show me the picture, you know, it was almost like a counseling trip there for about an hour. This was not a quick turnaround experience. And he would show me pictures in my head of these things. So I was calling on those entities to come forward and to call him home.
That's beautiful. Look at the compassion, like with a very malicious energy. Jamie resorts to using compassion and going back to love.
Oh, you know, I didn't even plan it down to that. But that was it. That was the thing that hooked this entity to let go of the house, let go of the people that lived there. And when I left that day, it was hours that I was in that house. And they never had another headache. They never had a stomach flu. Nothing. No more furniture moved. It was all fine.
That's incredible.
Can you imagine? Do you have bumps and things that move in the night? Guess what?
It's a common thing. You know, we often don't talk about it as a society, but, you know, we get these calls and we walk into these homes of all sizes and all people with different backgrounds, you know, different cultures, and we're all experiencing these things. It's just we don't talk about it. Like a lot of the people's homes I clear, they don't want to tell the neighbors. They don't want to go public about it.
Right.
And I'm
No,
like,
they
you know,
don't.
your home is not the only one affected. I guarantee the cemetery that we're clearing here extends out through this entire neighborhood they just built, like Poltergeist. Oh, I have a story along those lines.
Oh, what is it? What?
Another new construction home on the west side of Atlanta. This was in Marietta. So immediately I'm thinking, as I got the call from this woman who said, she's a businesswoman, very, you know, grounded. That's one of the first things I do is, you know, just making sure people are grounded when I'm getting these calls. And so she says, I've been feeling things in my home. It's brand new, so I'm a little surprised. And I have an infant. And so we have a camera in the infant's room, and I keep seeing orbs. And when I walk into the baby's room, I'll see the rocking chair moving. And so I feel like there's something that's making its presence known. And then she said, I was okay with that because it didn't feel like it was anything too harmful. She said I was just weirded out by it. But then she said, I was in the shower and then my towel started moving for no reason. There's, you know, no ventilation, nothing.
The towel was pretty heavy.
Yeah. And she said it was swaying, not like, you know, the gentle AC is on, but no, this was I need your attention kind of swinging. That's when I got the call. She said the things moving are not going to work beyond the rocking chair. So I go out to this home. The minute I walk in, gorgeous new construction. The entire neighborhood is brand new. I walk in and it felt like the entire first floor was filled with people. And so I walk in, I said, do you recognize, like, do you feel all this energy? She goes, yeah, like it feels very constricting when I walk into my own home. Like I can't really breathe. I said, because it's packed full of people.
Oh my God.
And so what it ended up
Grand
being.
Central Station.
Yeah. So when I started connecting with these beings, they were stuck here by choice. They were waiting on their loved ones to return from the Civil War. These were families waiting on their husbands, their brothers, boyfriends.
So they had found each other? Could they see each other?
They were in a community, I think, on this land, yes.
Okay.
And they, I think, were waiting together. So in this particular home was a family, and then people that I think were part of the community were there as well. And I think they just wanted help. They didn't know what was going on. Why are these homes being built on this land? This is our land.
So
what are you
confusing
doing?
to
We're
them,
waiting.
isn't it?
Because time doesn't exist on that other side. And that's what you'll find is that these were conscious. These were not imprinted energy. They were actively engaging in communication. So once I educated them on, hey, the times have changed. We are now a couple hundred years beyond that. And your loved one's probably on the other side. I can help you reunite with them. And so what I do, I just open up, that loving bubble of white light and then invite them in and have them step in. And
Darshana, do you think those spirits are like, this lady from the future came and opened a door for us to go back home?
I never thought about
You
that.
were the lady from the future.
Isn't that funny? In their world. Oh my gosh.
Wearing pants?
Crazy.
Oh my God.
Oh my gosh. That's
is a
so
freak,
weird
right?
to look at it from their standpoint.
And it's so nice to hear you talk about spirits that were ready to listen. That, they were looking for an outcome. It's just nobody had talked to them about it.
Yeah.
I'd come across more of those than the big mean ones, the manipulators.
Exactly.
And they're commonly waiting for their loved one.
Exactly. Waiting for their loved one, wanting to communicate something. I had a Reiki client yesterday who we started talking about house clearings, and she said, oh my God, I need to have you out. And I said, what's going on? She said, they have a lot of electronics, like sensors under the faucets and things. She said, everything just keeps going on by itself. And I said, well, something's communicating with you. It's not malicious. And it ended up being the guy who owned the home was the architect and the builder of the house. And I said, he's saying there's issues with the home, and he points to the foundation. She said, we've had recurring leaks. So I tapped in, because you can do this work remotely too. Energy knows no limits. So I tapped in, and he started communicating with me. He was the builder, the prior owner, and he was trying to get their attention to let them know the source of the issue in the constructed home. And he felt really bad about this error in the construction and in the seal of the foundation. So he was trying to apologize and get their attention to say, I have the answer. I know how to help you.
Did he tell you the answer?
Yeah, he did. And he said there is a contractor that he'll connect them with, but they have to follow their intuition. Because they're like, how do I do that? I said, follow your intuition. He'll guide you to the right people who can remedy this problem. But so not all hauntings are a bad thing. Sometimes people want to communicate or help with the situation. Have you had any of those where it seemed creepy, but it was actually
there was lots of stuff. It was a young couple in an old house. The couple who had bought and built the home had died, and younger couple moved in, and stuff was being moved in the living room, like full on, like candles would be here, next day candles would be over there, but arranged nicely. Nothing was ever dismayed, and they thought the place was really haunted. They couldn't live there anymore and so forth. It was the sweetest old man. He couldn't understand why his house had been painted, why things had changed, that his wife never would put the candles up there. His wife would always put the candles over there. So he was rearranging and helping it look like the house he remembered. His wife passed away before him. Wife crossed over. He died and stayed to look for her. So we just had to show him that there was another place that he could go look. And then once he found that, it was great. The house never got rearranged again. And I've gone to houses where in the kitchen overnight with zero sound. Every cup, plate, silverware, napkin, ceramics, big servingware, completely rearranged in different cupboards. And so the family would get up to open the drawer to get the spoon to make the coffee, and it's not there.
Dude,
It's
that's
three
creepy.
drawers down, right where it was where the previous owner had it. And so I was like, well, listen, you can go ahead and rearrange it. Boy, they did that 3 or 4 times, and it's exhausting to rearrange everything like that. And I said, it's the woman who lived there. Why don't you just leave it alone? You know, just leave it. My God, she worked so hard. So next time she rearranged the kitchen, they left it. And did it ever happen again? No.
Wow.
Nothing else in that house has ever been touched. And that house reeks of love. It's just like, oh.
Sometimes spirits are just like OCD.
That's my house? Oh, you just, whoever moves into my house after I pass over, just hang on. I'm going to decorate that thing every night. Isn't that so
funny?
much fun?
You know what's really creepy is Aisha and I have a conversation. So after I cross over, here are the signs that I'm do you ever do
This is what I'm going to do to you.
She said, Mom, you can make my bed. I know you're around if you do that. So I'll mess around with her bed. I don't think I'm making it. It's like, here's a spider.
I used to tell my spirits at my house, I was like, listen, you want to spook me? Clean up. I will freak out if I come home and this place is clean. But when I come home and you have everything scattered, I'm not so surprised. Now you just made more work for myself and I got to pick it up.
That's hilarious. Oh my God.
There's so many other stories.
It just goes on and on. So, you know, for those of you doing this work or tapping in yourself, don't be afraid, but be aware. That's what I would say. You have to be aware.
Right, like not to ignore it.
Exactly. Because there are lower vibe things that are around. I mean, attachments are a common thing on people.
It's like I talked about briefly in another episode, but there was an entity in the office, and my back was turned towards the door, and I had a feeling on my neck, a pressure, which I normally feel before I trance channel, and I thought, wow, why is Spirit doing that right now? And I turn around, and it's a thing, an entity that visually is from a nightmare, and tall and misproportioned, dark, no teeth, just this, Jesse calls it something that whales have when they eat that thing. And just felt like he wanted to suck the life out of the room, and I was like, oh, I must be making that up.
He sounds like a Dementor mouth.
Right? Yes.
From Harry Potter.
But I went into, my first thought was, nah, that can't be.
Wow.
Hello, my whole life. And that was my first go-to thought. So please forgive yourself when you start to push it aside, but catch it. So I turned my back around and I went, I can't shake this.
Wow.
I turned back around, it was still there, and I was like, oh my God, this is real. And I just had to admit that it was real. It's not a normal thing that I see all the time, so it was freaky deaky.
I remember at that time I got a text from Colleen that said, hey, are you around? I was going to come check it out. And then we talked about it later, and I think it was... So the thing is, with a lot of energies, they can be from here. Sometimes they're not from around here. They can be extraterrestrial. Sometimes they can be multi-dimensional, interdimensional as well. Sometimes they could even be lower Earth. And that's what this one felt like, a lower Earth vibration as we were talking.
But can you tell me more about lower Earth? That's still like a new term.
It's something that that'll pass my awareness every now and then when I'm working to clear energy, repattern energy. I guess there are other domains of existence in the resonance of Earth itself. Remember, nothing's solid matter. So we can have tiers, okay, this is coming through, tiers of vibration, and what we perceive as under the earth is literally just another layer of energy or vibration that happens to be physically what we would consider under the ground. But it's a vibrational dimension.
It felt like it was coming up to clean, to eat the nasties and make more nasty to feed itself.
Wow, yeah.
You know, and to take care of it. And if it wasn't there, it wasn't going to stay.
Yeah.
I wanted to highlight what Darshana just said. You said I was cleaning the energy, and then you corrected yourself and you said I repattern it. Because that was so clever, because when we think of cleaning, we think of getting rid of it, like absorbing it, flushing it down the toilet, getting it out of our existence. But you don't do that with energy.
Mm-mm.
Energy does not go away. You can't scoop it up, ball it up, and throw it away. You repattern it, you restructure it.
You transmute it.
Something else to keep in the head there.
Yeah, I think we're moving really into a new paradigm of understanding energy. So the way we interact with what we consider lower vibration, we're just supposed to love it. And right now we're in a major upheaval of the shadow, individually and collectively. If you've been feeling some heavy in your life, welcome to the club.
Yep.
Every day I'm noticing how much ick I'm having to move out of my own self, and then the collective, all around us. So if you're feeling that heaviness, remember, we're constantly transmuting. Repattern that.
And stick to your cleaning your boundaries, setting your boundaries, physical boundaries, mental, emotional, your boundaries around your home, your property, above and below. Groom that.
Yes.
Bring back that image where Darshana said she gave compassion and love out to change the energy.
Yeah, it's the key. And I think it's the new way we'll engage with things that are creepy.
I want to propose that we go to some of these places and sit and talk. Maybe we can do audio, because it's not like the video is going to catch much. We can run some night vision stuff.
I love it.
And just keep that running, but we can do audio. Yeah?
I'm in. I've been wanting to do that because Aisha was like, I was watching these shows and it's all drama. They're not helping. They're not helping the situation. I think we could totally
Aisha could go
make
with
a
this.
difference.
Boy, she'd be bait. Though.
She's amazing. She would be.
Right? Her energy, wow. Guys,
She
if
loves.
you have not seen Darshana's daughter, you have a few episodes with her.
I sure do. She joins me on a lot of these, the house clearings that we do. She loves coming out with me. But she is a magnet.
Maybe we can find like the top 5 kind of haunted spaces. And
Jesse's place.
go to Jesse's house. Jesse has a new house. Apparently it's not liking him. Oh! What does it say about you, Jesse?
It's making me sick.
Yeah, let's do it. I would love that.
Great, I'm in.
Let's do it.
Do you want to do it daytime, nighttime? 2 different kinds of energy.
I think a little of both, so maybe at sunset.
I was
We're
having
getting
the same thing in my
Let's
head.
do it.
Go there while it's daytime and experience the transition and the calm.
Because it goes from a yin or a yang to a yin energy, and I love feeling that subtle change because there's something magical that starts to get illuminated when that shift happens.
Let's do it. I love it.
Stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned. Bum, bum, bum.
All right, Jamie, thank you so much for being on and just dancing
you.
through some of the creepy stories. But you know what it ended up being was a discussion around having compassion when you feel the creepy. So it all does come back to love, my friends, because that is how you raise the vibe.
That's brilliant.
Thank you.
That is how you raise the vibe. From creepy to compassion.
I like that for the time.